we didn't want to seem like we were going to, you know, basically look at a car crash, or basically look at like a train wreck of a town.
Taylor and I don't get to travel as much as we like, so when we decided to go make a film in Colorado City, it was kind of a big deal.
Seth and I have been wanting to do some kind of trip together for a while, so we decided we would go to Colorado City. So we just rented a car and drove out there.
We were going from California to Arizona, just a bit of a trek. This was our beginning.
I don't really know why we chose Colorado City, except it's a place that we're both really fascinated with, that we're fascinated by. It's a place we're both really fascinated by.
This is one of two passes we made through Colorado City. I was petrified.
Colorado City is this kind of strange destination because it's a Mormon fundamentalist town where they still practice polygamy.
Taylor was somewhat vexed because I didn't want him to stop the car, let alone get out and shoot anything. You hear all these stories about how the community has this thing called the God Squad. These men that follow outsiders around in a black SUV when you get into town to kind of make sure that no one's doing the kinds of thing we're doing.
In many ways, they live lives that are more similar to the actual Mormon settlers in Utah than any mainstream Mormons do now. Only men are allowed to have multiple spouses, and they accumulate a lot of them. So they'll have like these very, very young brides, and in order to house this many people, they build these huge homes that they barely even finish. Like they build them just enough that they can comfortably live inside, and then the outsides of the houses are a lot of times just plywood, or it's just like unfinished siding. And the houses just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger with the more wives and children that the men in the community accumulate.
There's a gas station and a general store.
We gotta start over.
Why?
Because we're getting nowhere with this.
We were only here for 10 minutes.
Despite the fact that this was the main destination on our trip. We were there barely long enough to even, see anybody who was in the town. We were too afraid to even get out of the car.
I wanted to go out right away. Taylor wanted to stay. But I didn't feel.
Well, before we even got to Colorado City, we had stopped at so many places along the way that were obviously tourist traps, but we went anyway. And this ghost town was one of them.
This isn't really a ghost town anymore.
Just sort of stopped in time. Ghost town in California, where they have, people dressed up as these Old West cowboys, and they do fake gunfights, and everywhere you go there's something you can buy, and
it's funny because there seemed to be something fascinating about every place for us. So then it became a question of, well, where then do we have a destination?
But when we were in Zion, we actually had a fight because Seth wanted me to take. I was holding the camera, and Seth wanted me to take a picture of this bird, to film this bird in a tree, and I couldn't see it anywhere in the tree, and he kept yelling, "It's right there, it's right there," and I couldn't find it. So I said, "Fine, you just take the camera, you shoot it, since you know where it is."
Our server asked us, well, we told her we were making a film. She asked us why anyone would want to make a film out there.
Can house up to, 7 different families because each of the men has a number of wives and countless children, so they just keep building onto these houses, these like ramshackle additions. And Seth, you mentioned that was some kind of like metaphor for our relationship, or the trip, or something.
The trip, yeah. Not our relationship. Thank you. Unless our relationship is ramshackle and unfinished.